Rosa is great about showing new people the ropes, particularly women, and willingness to share, mistakes she made. And that's frankly one of the most important lessons you can learn as a new member. But there's also, is a fascinating thing. Rosa is extremely passionate. And as I tell people, fear of Rosa is a real thing. You can see Rosa with her list of people when she is whipping on one of her issues, and she is so armed with facts and with passion and persuasion that she is looking for you, and if you aren't going to vote her way, you better run and hide in the cloakroom.
She's a nice person to work with, but you better know what you're talking about, and you better know what you're asking and why. And I think that's carried forward throughout her career, and it's made her effective. Everybody knows her as somebody you can talk straight with, and she will expect you to talk straight.
I almost talk to Rosa daily and have for 40 years. So it's far more than an acquaintance, far more than a colleague, far more than a co-worker and a campaign manager. Rosa DeLauro is as close to family I have aside from my own family. And so I've made a lot of, I think, pretty good political decisions over my life after 36 years in Congress. I never made a better one than the day I invited this woman I had never met before from New Haven, Connecticut, if she'd run my campaign in 1979 for the U.S. Senate. And I've never regretted that decision, I can promise you, all these years later. Great, great person, great friend.
Well, I think the first thing is she came in with such compassion and commitment. And what drives her are the things she cares about, her constituents, the causes that she fights for, and incredibly brilliant. But also, she came having worked for Senator Dodd, so she already knew the lay of the land when she showed up. So it wasn't like a normal freshman walking in the door.
When she was trying to get on the Appropriations Committee and I was on the Steering and Policy Committee, I really didn't have to work too hard. She talked to everybody that was involved. She was enthusiastic. You could tell what a hard worker she was going to be. She talked to people on the floor of the House. She talked to them in the halls. I really didn't have to work that hard because she knocked herself out, and guess what? She got on the committee.
Campaigning and working with Rosa in Connecticut, we had overlapping, actually a city that we shared, and it was just so much fun and so fascinating to go with Rosa and meet with people because her knowledge and her history is so long.
We had a 25th anniversary of my years in Congress at a hotel in Washington. And it was a fun night, we had a great evening. But one of the things hanging there was an outfit that Rosa DeLauro had worn, because she would change her outfits. And we used to tease her when she'd come to work and ask her which country in the world she was representing that day. She had some pretty wild outfits. Anyway, this particular outfit, she kept with us because we remember the day that we went to visit Bob Dole, my colleague, Republican colleague. He was a major committee senator at the time. This is back in the 1980s. Rosa was the chief of staff, and she had this outfit on that was sort of a pantaloons and broad shoulder pads and so forth. And we walked into Bob Dole's office, and he looked at her, and he looked at me, and he said, "I didn't realize you were hiring the Vatican Swift Guards in order to work for your office." And because we still laughed about it to this day.
A number of women's issues and on opioids. We actually the two of us worked a lot together on opioids. It's been a huge issue in Connecticut, and we worked on that. And actually the anti-vaping efforts. We're both passionate on making sure that young people do not get addicted to nicotine in a new fashion. This has been a decades-long fight for Rosa, and I had a chance to work with her and very capable folks at Yale to help make that case a number of years ago, and quite effectively so.
Rosa and I had the same feeling about women and about families. So we both worked on a number of bills that address the needs of working women, particularly that they get the same pay that a man doing the exact same job did.
And then we began the work on the Family and Medical Leave Act. We drafted that legislation, which got a lot of attention. It was unpaid leave. Went through 2 vetoes before it became law. In fact, it wasn't until January of 1993 that Bill Clinton signed the Family and Medical Leave Act as the very first piece of legislation he signed into law.
Congresswoman DeLauro has been a presence from before she was a member of Congress. She was a presence in Senator Dodd's office. She was a presence at Emily's List. Before that, she was a presence in the mayor's office. She really makes herself known and felt by her accomplishments. So with respect to all these 32 years that she has been in the Congress, she's been a constant force, bringing resources back to her district, bringing resources back to Connecticut, and making sure that the interests of the people in the state were really first and foremost in her priorities. So while she's a national leader, and she's been a national leader throughout her service, she is a local leader as well. She's looked to by local people in the New Haven area, and she's looked to bring home the bacon in terms of things that are needed in the state, and she has done that. And as a member of the Appropriations Committee and now as chair, she's really in a key position to do so.
It's absolutely better Connecticut. One, I think it's the first time in many years that we've had anybody here who's chairman of a full committee, and the impact on the state and issues that we care about in transportation and health and in every area she critically assists in.
The country is so fortunate to have Rosa DeLauro as a member of the United States Congress. We in Connecticut feel a special gift in having her as part of our delegation, but she's a great gift to this country as well.